Good morning, everybody. Thank you all so much for being here with us today. So as I stand here today in the final weeks of my tenure as Louisville's mayor, we're going to mark another milestone in our commitment to recognize Juneteenth in a lasting way. In signing this ordinance making Juneteenth National Freedom Day, a paid holiday for Louisville Metro government employees, we've reached a new level of progress for greater representation and greater celebration of that inclusion in our city's life. This particular stretch of road in that recognition and celebration began when we named Juneteenth a city holiday starting in 2021. That became the foundation for the establishment of the Juneteenth Jubilee Commission as an official city commission, which will create an annual series of events to educate and celebrate Juneteenth. I'd like to really thank our Juneteenth Commission members that are with us here today and those that couldn't make it. They have taken this responsibility and obligation extraordinarily seriously, as I knew that they would, under the more than capable leadership of Wanda Mitchell-Smith, who's the chair of the commission. But it's been exciting so far what this commission has created for our city, and as they look into the future, I can only wait to see what's coming next here, because I know of some of the big events being planned. And I think when we look back on the work of this commission, the founding commissioners, 5 years, 10 years from now, the impact that they've had on our city's history and the trajectory of our city and the opening of people's consciousness to the importance of their work and to the importance of this Juneteenth will really be unparalleled. So I'd really like to thank our commission members here. If we could give them a round of applause. Thank you all very much. Good job. Keep smiling, Wanda. So, with all of this, in a history that's demanded for too many Americans to wait too long for equity and equality, Black Americans, this is the foundation for the Declaration, to make Juneteenth a paid holiday for city employees. Now, why is that important? You might just be thinking, well, this is just Metro government employees. I just would like to ask our private sector employees, nonprofit sector employees, et cetera, to understand what Juneteenth is. And one of the ways that we can sear that into the minds of our people is to say this is a day that demands respect and recognition and a day to reflect, and that is a paid day off. So I urge private employers in Louisville to follow our example and make National Freedom Day a paid holiday for their employees too. And some might say, why are we doing this? What is Juneteenth? That's the whole point. So they can learn and understand and appreciate and pass that down to their kids and their grandkids to continue to form this nation of ours, this city of ours, on this journey toward trying to perfect an imperfect country, an imperfect city. We're not an either-or country anymore when it comes to Juneteenth and the 4th of July, when you think about the Freedom Day. We're most definitely a both-and country, and if we're not, we most certainly should be. The reality is the 4th of July was not an Independence Day for those enslaved in earlier American history, nor was it an Independence Day after a Civil War was fought for the rights for Black Americans. It was supposed to happen that way. These rights were supposed to be conferred by the Union winning that war, but time and again, through Jim Crow laws, other laws, our Black Americans had their freedoms denied, delayed, and deferred over and over again for at least a century after the Civil War, and of course some of that still continues today. So how could this be? Status quo, white patriarchy, liked things the way they were. Well, that certainly was not just, and it was only through the dogged determination of those who would not let the dream of equality die. That's why we're here today. But we cannot pretend that this milestone means that we've arrived at the final destination of this long journey either. President Obama said it really well a few years ago. He said, quote, Juneteenth has never been a celebration of victory or an acceptance of the way things are. It's a celebration of progress. It's an affirmation that despite the most painful parts in our history, change is possible. and there is still much work to do. So yes, let's stop for a moment today to recognize the progress of representation that this ordinance is, but let's also rededicate ourselves to the unfulfilled work that certainly remains. We got a few speakers now that I'd like to invite up to share some remarks as well. And first we'll start with Michael Meeks, who's the chief of our equity office. Michael?
Thank you, Mayor Fisher. Thank you all for joining us this morning. To the commission members, thank you for your dedication, your devotion to the commission. Juneteenth celebrates the end of slavery in the United States and goes by several names: Emancipation Day, Freedom Day, Jubilee Day, Juneteenth Independence Day, and Black Independence Day. Most of us know the history of Juneteenth and how June 19th, 1865, Major General Gordon Granger arrived in Galveston, Texas, and announced the end of the Civil War and the end of slavery, and how many of the slaveholders continued to enslave black people captive after that announcement, although Emancipation Proclamation came 2.5 years earlier, in January 1st of 1863. Juneteenth is a symbolic day representing African American freedom in America, the end of slavery, and the terrible stain on this nation. But this is also an opportunity for continued healing, for reconciliation, and for unity. The designation of Juneteenth as a paid holiday in Louisville Metro is significant, not only for Metro employees, but for the entire community. Recognition of Juneteenth as a paid holiday indicates that we as a community have placed importance on this celebration through legislation. The Juneteenth Commission will continue its work on the celebratory activities in 2023, and we invite you to use that time to reflect on unity in our nation, in our community. Use the time to reflect on what Juneteenth really means. But by all means, come out and celebrate during that time. Thank you, Mayor Fisher, for your commitment to this. Thank you to the Metro Council for the wisdom and foresight and for putting forth this ordinance. And thank you to the Commission for its work. Thank you.
I too want to thank the council, Councilwoman Paula McCraney. We intended to be here this morning, but something's come up and she sends her regards. Now we're going to hear from a young man, Raul Cunningham, who knows a little bit about fighting for racial justice over the years. Raul was active as a young teenager, I think it's fair to say, isn't it, Raul, in the protests in the 1960s that took place in our city. It's led an unparalleled life of contribution to racial justice here in Louisville, longtime president of our local NAACP. Please welcome Raul Cunningham.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's a pleasure and an honor to recognize Freedom Day, especially in Louisville, Kentucky. I want to congratulate the mayor, the city council, and the mayor's staff for initiating this ordinance that will be signed today. Having grown up in Louisville as a part of a segregated Louisville, it is an honor to stand today to recognize that the city of Louisville, who did enforce segregation, is now honoring Freedom Day. Slavery was not uniform in the United States. Neither was the end of slavery uniform. although we celebrate and will be celebrating Juneteenth, Kentucky was not a part of the Emancipation Proclamation. The Emancipation freed the slaves that were held in states that rebelled. Kentucky did not rebel. Kentucky is one of the 5 border states that had slavery that the Emancipation did not affect. Those 5 states: Delaware, Maryland, West Virginia, Kentucky, and Missouri. Freedom came to those states with the enactment of the 13th Amendment, which was enacted on December the 18th, 1865. We celebrate. We celebrate the city of Louisville. Oh, and let me mention that Kentucky, the state of Kentucky, did not ratify the 13th Amendment until 1976, when Representative May Street Kidd introduced the bill in the legislature. So the ending of slavery was not uniform. We do celebrate it having been ended, and we celebrate that universally. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Raul. I want to recognize our Deputy Mayor, Ellen Hessen, who just peeked in over here. The Deputy Mayor's been behind an awful lot of this work. So, Ellen, thank you for your contributions. And our final speaker is our chair of the Juneteenth Commission, Wanda Mitchell-Smith, who just recently was named a Martin Luther King Keeper of the Dream Freedom Award as well, and has done an incredible job over the years in our city in many different capacities, and we're honored to have her chairing the Juneteenth Commission. Wanda?
Thank you, Mayor, and I won't be long, but this commission is one that I take pride in and that I feel deep down in my spirit. I appreciate Mayor Fisher being willing, he had the willing heart to say yes to everything that came across. So we really and truly thank you. And with that being said, Mayor, would you please step to the podium? The commissioners would like to share with you this award, sir. And it's the Juneteenth Jubilee Celebration, Louisville, Kentucky, in honor of your passion and commitment to establishing the Juneteenth Jubilee Commission and the passage of Ordinance Number 184, Series 2022, hereby respecting Juneteenth as an official holiday with pay, with pay for all Metro government employees. We, the Juneteenth Commissioners and the Office of Equity, pay homage and salute Greg E. Fisher, Mayor. Thank you so much. Congratulations. And we turn the mic back over to you.
Well, thanks very much. I can tell you that one of the things that's a great honor about being mayor is that you can impact change and that you can right wrongs. And it's just a great thing to be elected by the people of Louisville to say we trust you to do the right thing. This is something obviously that should have happened a long time ago, decades and decades ago, but things come to the surface at the right time for a right reason. It takes the right people as well, so I'm just honored to be part of the team. So thank you all very much. So we'll close this and then sign with Michelle Obama's former First Lady's statement that reminded us, quote, "There are still many causes worth sacrificing for and so much history yet to be made." So let's make some history now and sign this ordinance and rededicate ourselves to making even more history down the road for full equity and full equality. So this is Ordinance 184. As Wanda mentioned earlier, Series 2022. It's an ordinance amending Chapter 39 of the Louisville Metro Code of Ordinances, recognizing June 19th as Juneteenth National Freedom Day. It's sponsored by Council Members Bowens, Shanklin, Dorsey, Purvis, Arthur, McCraney, Triplett, and President James. So with a sign of my signature, this now becomes law here in Louisville.